All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. People will come in gradually. So hi, I'm Cindric Steptoe, Director of the Alumni Career Lab here at the University of Arizona Alumni Association, and I'm broadcasting live from Tucson, Arizona. Tonight's webinar is going to be about what are you waiting for? Power Up Your Career, presented by Sara Fox. Women have been in the workforce for centuries, from being expected to stay home, to take care of children and perform household duties, to now serving in top positions in public and private sector industries. The path to career success has not been easy. Self-confidence in women have historically lagged behind men, and other factors have historically impeded career advancement and success. But historical trends are just that, history. This webinar tonight, presented by Sara, is a part of a free alumni Career Lab webinar series where the alumni provides monthly conversation with experts about a variety of industry and professional development topics. Today's presentation is being recorded and it will be archived on the Alumni Association website for you to access on demand. To find a link to that and more, go to alumnicareerlab.com. Questions are welcome throughout the program. Just type them into the chat box on your right-hand side if it's there. Or you might need to activate it by clicking on chat. If you're on Twitter tonight, please tweet at us, #HireCat, or follow us on Twitter @HireCat as well. We'd love to hear from you. A little bit about the speaker. Sara Fox is a 2009 U of A graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Retail and Consumer Science and a minor in Business Administration. Fox started her career at Kohl's Department Store's corporate office in Wisconsin as a merchandise analyst. In 2016, she earned her Master's of Education degree in the College of Student Affairs Administration from the University of West Florida. And now she serves as a high impact practices for experiential learning coordinator in the Career Development and Community Engagement Office at University of West Florida. Ooh, that's a mouthful. In her current role, Fox focuses on growing the experiential learning programs at UWF, including cooperative education and internships, and promoting and offering education related to high impact practices and experiential learning, pedagogy practices to employers, faculty and staff, and students. Sara also meets with students and alumni weekly for career related appointments, including, but not limited to, resume reviews, LinkedIn profile creation, mock interviews, job search strategies, and salary negotiations. Now, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Sara as we thank her for presenting tonight and as she can take it away. Sara, it's off to you.
Thank you, Cindric. It's very nice to be with all of you this evening. And my topic here today is, what are you waiting for? Power up your career. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll start by going to the agenda. So we'll start with some research to understand some of the historical trends for women in the workplace and also comparing and contrasting with the sexes. So we'll go into the socialization of sexes, then we'll go into some career development trends, and then a little bit on the skills of sexes and how to promote such skills in the job search. Next, we'll go through your opportunities, so how to identify your unique skills and qualities, and how to bridge those gaps to where you are and where you want to be. Finally, we'll go through some tools. I hope you take away some of these tools that you can use in your job search, and then we'll end with question and answers and my contact information. So let's get started with the research, and we're going to start with what we call the socialization of the sexes. So with historical trends and as it relates to the workforce, women were socialized to be sensitive, artistic, and sociable. So the traditional career path for women have been the helping jobs. So that includes careers such as teaching, being in the nursing profession, maybe administrative assistants and social work. Men were socialized to be assertive and physically active. So traditional career paths could be engineering, business and science, and medicine. So there are pros and cons to both of these, and it kind of depends how you look at it for both. Men were expected to enter the workforce. Women had a choice in some cases, and thus women have historical limitations and restrictions on their options and achievements because it wasn't something that they were expected to do and enter the workforce. So this has included to the contribution of gender inequalities in pay and lacking female roles, and we have a lot of evidence with that. This is a graph from a study called the Women in the Workplace, and it was a comprehensive study of the state of women in corporate America. So it was a long-term partnership with leanin.org. I'm sure some of you are familiar with that, and another company, and it was to encourage female leadership and foster gender equality in the workplace. So for this study, there was 118 companies and nearly 30,000 employees who participated in the study. So with this first chart, it says, why didn't you apply for that job? And the first says, I didn't think they would hire me because I didn't meet the qualifications and I didn't want to put myself out there if I was likely to fail. So we can see that women are at almost 22% versus men at about 13%. And the next one is I was following the guidelines about who should apply, following the guidelines to a T. So women were doing that much more than men. And so you can see here that women were following the guidelines and they were not stretching for their opportunities, stretching beyond what they think they can accomplish. So in addition to this, research shows that women are more likely to take a first assignment at a lower rank with fewer responsibilities than men. This can be into comparison of the kind of years of experience or the industry or global region. And what the survey also shows is that since women start behind men, they don't catch up in promotions or salary, which is a big thing. So some of this is due to confidence, which we'll discuss a little bit later. The next slide here, we have additional charts from the same study. So the top one is for respondents who wanted a top job or seeking top executive positions. So we have senior, middle, and entry level. So we have women and men. Men are at a higher level on all of those. And then we see reasons why respondents did not want a top job with and without children. So what we can see, which is interesting here, is that chief concerns for both with children and without is that was the ability to balance family and work, or uncertainty about the success in the role they would have, and support from senior staff with and without children. So something related to all of these four graphs in this study is that while success and likability are positively correlated for men, these descriptors are negatively correlated for women. So this means that women are generally either considered likable or successful, but not both. And in many times, men can be seen as both. So this creates sometimes a double bind for women. Women, if they are seen as competent, she may not be seen as nice. But if she seems nice, then she may not be considered as competent. So this bias often surfaces in the way that women are described, both in passing and in performance reviews for several. So sometimes when a woman asserts herself, she is often called aggressive, ambitious, or out for herself. To some, when a man does the same thing, he may be seen as confident and strong. So with that in mind, labels like bossy and bitchy may come up for women as compared to assertive for men, which creates a catch-22 for women. The usual lone alternative to these labels is one of being soft and a pushover. So we're seeing a lot that there is an indirect correlation of successful women who are being respected for what they have accomplished. So as this double standard, women can face penalties in the workforce, for example, like missing out on hiring opportunities or advancement opportunities, and even salary increases with this type of trend that's going on. So now we'll take a little bit more in-depth look at women in the workplace for the next three slides. So this slide demonstrates a more specific fields on how management and women in the workplace work. And this was a study conducted by Lisa Husu. And she found that women seem to settle voluntarily for marginal positions, or at least positions that don't allow them to exercise managerial functions. So for example, we see computer and information systems and then chief executives. Only a quarter of management occupations are held by women. So this is from the study that Mrs. Hishu did. And we're seeing that while women are definitely stepping outside the comfort zone, it is still very much less compared to what men are in today's workforce. Now going on to talking about raises and promotions. So according to another survey by iVillage, only 35% of the 1,500 women polled in this study have ever asked for a raise, and less than 20% have ever asked for a promotion. So some might attribute this to performance evaluation bias, where male performance is sometimes overestimated compared with female performance, especially in domains that were traditionally dominated by men. This bias is even more pronounced when performance review criteria are unclear. So in this case, evaluators are more likely to rely on gut feelings and personal inferences rather than not. So with this in mind, women are sometimes given less credit for successful outcomes and blamed for more failure as it relates to possible promotions and salary increases. So in addition to this, men typically attribute their success to innate qualities and skills, while women often attribute their external factor skills, such as working hard or getting lucky or helping others, and not identifying those unique and innate skills that they do possess. So with all that being said, while women receive less credit and give less credit to themselves, their confidence often erodes because of this, and they're less likely to put themselves forward for promotions and even stretch assignments that might bring them new opportunities. So in addition, with all of that being said, it's been argued that overall women have less confidence in Western society because of their status and salary inferiority when compared to men. So I know that's not the most exciting news, but there's things that we can do to overcome these. And that starts with some confidence and identifying some confidence killers. So a lot of times women wait until they feel 100% confident in themselves before making a career move. And this was found by a researcher called Helen Lerner. She is the author of The Confidence Myth. She found that women do wait until they feel 100% confident until they make a career move, and as such, asking for a raise or a new position as well. So with that though, waiting till this moment of complete confidence and complete internal assurance often means that the window of opportunity has expired. There's a very fine line when you have the opportunity to ask for a raise or ask for a promotion or have a discussion of such with your employer. So with all of these aspects of building confidence, can anybody on today provide me with what they might think is one of the top 5 confidence killers for women? What do you think might be killing confidence for women in the workforce? Based on some of the discussion we've already had so far. And if you are able to use the chat, that would be a good way to go about and just provide some if you can.
Yeah, please type your answers in the chat box. Give it a little time.
Okay. Absolutely. Getting negative feedback, not getting that feedback that's constructive to help you change or develop something. Absolutely. Yes. So others include, yes, not giving clear examples. So perfectionism, that's a big thing of, sometimes we may think if I don't do this right, I'm not going to do it at all. Or the micromanager bosses or family members not supporting us in our contributions. I love what you guys are saying, being rejected or refused in the past. Yes, those can definitely hinder improvement with that, not getting encouragement from our bosses. Yes. So Fear of failure is another one, and then critical colleagues. You know, that can make a big difference too. We're very much competitive in the workforce too, so that can make a hindrance on our confidence movement. So great job, everyone. So with moving forward, we need to pull the trigger. We need to push the button in order to beat these confidence killers. You got to take risks, take action, pull the trigger, even if you don't feel ready to do so. So examples include offering thoughtful suggestions in a meeting. Let's say you're in a meeting and you're talking about some different topics, thinking outside the box and offering those suggestions in meetings. Stepping up to help without being asked. For instance, if you work in teams at your employment and you have been asked to do something that's not in your scope of work, maybe being asked to and stepping in without being asked could be helpful to that. And then seeking a trusted second opinion that encourage you to make the move you've been considering. So what comes to mind here is definitely mentors or family members and friends. Discussing what you're feeling and what your thoughts are and getting a second opinion is very helpful. And then, of course, just as it says, taking a risk, identifying what you don't feel comfortable doing and what you can do and showcase what you're absolutely confident in doing could be a major impact for you. So according to Helen Lerner's survey, she said that just pulling the trigger, pushing the button, and using skills that you have to make an impact and making mistakes and recovering from them can also help you enhance your confidence in the workplace. So it's also very important when you're thinking about confidence is to do some self-awareness assessment. If you can identify those confidence killers, are there any particular spots that you can think of where it really killed your confidence for a second or a moment? Self-awareness is so important because just knowing what drains your confidence is just a big step forward in the right direction. So next, let's move on to the skills of the sexes and what's traditionally being seen. So for a recent study, this was conducted by Bentley University, and they did a study called the Preparedness Study, and they examined the skills of the sexes, and what they found is that men are seen as much more suited to have success or have the advantage when it comes to leadership and entrepreneurial spirit. Women were seen as much better suited to have success or have advantage when it comes to qualities such as organization, interpersonal, and communication skills. So looking at both sexes, respondents to the study were split almost evenly on whether men or women are better suited for success when it comes to decision-making skills. And then overall, respondents saw that women actually had better prepared for their first jobs after graduation from college. So some interesting facts with that. Moving on to skills, we at in the career professional world, we have a professional organization called the National Association of Colleges and Employers, or for short, NACE. And NACE does an employer survey every year, and it's called the Job Outlook Survey. And for 2018, they identified skills that, beyond a strong GPA, that they value most. And employers indicated the top two, one was problem-solving skills, and the second was the ability to work in a team, are the most desired and are of equal importance. So one thing to keep in mind when we're looking at all of these skills are pretty much what we could categorize as soft skills, or skills that we can't necessarily learn overnight. And these skills are also skills mentioned in the methods where we're talking about what the previous study had found, where women were much more better to have success with organization and interpersonal communication skills. So communication skills is down there at number 7, very important these days. So with that in mind, we want to reflect on the skills we have, especially in the job search, so that we can showcase them on our application materials. So in our office here at the University of West Florida, we do have something we call the self-reflection analysis. And it's an exercise that is very helpful in helping us identify what skills we have and what are some examples of where we use these skills. So for all of you, I want you to take a quick moment to identify with teamwork. Exactly how do you work with others? And some aspects of teamwork include, do you value the opinions and skills of others? And are you focused on yourself and your role in the expense of focusing on the larger group or bigger picture? And then with communication, for example, do you interact well with others? And then digging deeper, are you regularly positive in your engagement with others? Do you listen effectively? What exactly does listening effectively mean? And do you take feedback well, even negative feedback? So here's an example of what our self-reflection assessment looks like. We have several different soft skill categories in the left-hand column, and then we have several actions, and then on the following, the right-hand column, we have how much did you practice this in the last month? So not much, a little, or a lot, and then it's on a scale. So this is something that can be very helpful in a reflective piece to identify what you're doing on a daily basis with skills, how you're doing it, and how you can showcase this on your application materials. So your resumes and your cover letters, even your e-portfolios or in-person portfolios, depending on your industry. So this is something I would suggest. I can send it to any who request afterwards, and this is, again, a great reflection exercise for it to use. Another exercise that I love is what we call a skills and qualities social mirror. So for this, I'd like you to take a moment and just think about what is one positive social mirror statement that you have received during your life related to your skills and qualities. And try and reflect back on what the NACE core skills were. So they had problem solving and communication skills, critical thinking. And then also think about what is one negative social mirror statement you've received, such as you're not so organized, or you have some things to work on with presentation skills. So think about that for a moment too. And then in terms of the positive, where have you been able to showcase that? Are you showcasing that on your resume, in your cover letter, again in your e-portfolio? And then with your negative social mirror statement, what are you doing or what can you do to turn that into a positive? For example, if you were told that, you know, you're good at presentation skills, but you could be even better. Well, do you have something, for instance, Toastmasters, which I think is an organization around the nation that helps people practice their presentation skills? Or are you able to get some volunteer experience if you're currently job searching to help boost those skills so that when you go into interviews, you're able to showcase them very well. So the social mirror activity is very, very helpful as well, and I encourage you to do that if you can. Next, let's talk about how to bridge the gap. We don't want you to be a victim of the failure to launch syndrome. So here are a few steps that you can take to overcome the failure to launch and be proactive, be confident in your job search. So the first thing is to be proactive. So we don't want to be reactive in the job search, definitely proactive by attending events. For example, University of Arizona, I'm sure has many events that alumni can attend. We also have several different opportunities for just searching online. I know they have Handshake, which is a great job search opportunity. Again, when it relates to networking, reach out to folks. Don't be afraid to not reach out for fear of rejection. Reach out for tips and advice. It's really, really important to be proactive and help you launch your career that way. Another is to find and engage with mentors. If you don't have a mentor yet, see if in your local area there is a mentor network that would be helpful, or if you know some peers who have mentors and if they have any suggestions. Another way is to do a job shadow. Learn from the experts in a field that you're really interested in. Job shadowing happens a lot with students, but also as an alumni or alumna, it's an excellent opportunity to reach out and see if a professional in the area of interest is willing to let you shadow for a couple hours to really see what their career and their job is like. Another is to conduct some informational interviews. Informational interviews are just so helpful that you can ask for tips and strategies. You can, dig down deeper into how they got to that position and tips and tricks for success in that area. Another one is then to use your skills. So what skills do you have? Is it organization? Is it creativity? Use those skills in your job search. Maybe if you're the organizational type, maybe use a tracking device, and we'll talk a little bit more about a tracking tool later in the session. Next, of course, is practice, practice, practice. So seek out opportunities to use those skills and apply them to real-world experiences. So if you are currently job searching, why not do some volunteering? Volunteering, you can meet a lot of people in the community. That's a great way to practice those skills and really boost your confidence with them as well. And then last but not least, I have SMART goals here. So we'll discuss this soon, but putting goals on paper and detailing them out is really, really helpful in helping us bridge the gap and become confident in our job search. So next we're going to go through several skills that I have available for you guys to use. And this is, first is Handshake. So Handshake, of course, I talked a little bit about earlier. It is available to all University of Arizona alumni. I definitely encourage you to take a look at this system. It has a lot of great opportunities that you can look at. Next, we have LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile already, I highly recommend it. And I do know that the Career Center for Alumni does have a webinar on LinkedIn. So that is definitely another resource that you can use. And with LinkedIn, you can find an abundance of different professionals on there. What I also love to use is the alumni search. So if you are in an industry and you have a major in a certain area and you want to find out what fellow students fellow graduates who had that major, what are they doing now? So that is a great way to identify some different opportunities for you. Next, we have lists. So if you are a list maker or if you like to check off things for your daily duties, a networking list may be a good source. So you can compile your list of everyone who you can communicate with and be intentional about communicating consistently with these folks. That networking list can help you, keep you organized with it. You always want to stay in touch with those who you network with. You want to stay in touch during and after. Many times if you network with mentors or other folks, they will want to know your successes. They will want to celebrate those successes for you. And it's also a professional courtesy to always follow up with folks and keep them abreast of what you're working on. So having a networking list is going to be so helpful for you. The next tool, one of my favorites, is called AIR for networking. So when you are networking, if you are someone who doesn't have a ton of practice or if nerves tend to take over when you do networking, try and remember this acronym. AIR, it stands for Advice, Information, and Referrals. So with networking, successful networking is not just about asking for jobs. It's about asking for much more, which includes these three items. Most people these days don't or did not get to their job on their own. They had mentors, they had help, they had guidance along the way. So most people are very happy and pleased to provide advice when it's sought after and valued. And it's even if they don't have a specific job offer for you, they are very much wanting to help others grow and develop. So you're not putting them on the hook for anything. They're just able to give you these different types of categorical information. And by asking for AIR, you're not only doing due diligence, you're requesting something from them that they enjoy providing. As I said, nobody got to where they are because of themselves. It's all mentors and helping has helped people get to where they want to be in the profession. A longer acronym that you can use for networking includes the ladder approach. So this one stands for listen. So of course, when we are conversing with folks in a networking situation, we want to have active ears with listening, asking questions. So in some cases, you may find yourself in networking situations where you will be conversing pretty well, and then the communication just stops because the conversation is on a pause. So ask questions. Questions will help start the conversation again and keep it going in a positive manner. Next is for ladders, we don't want to interrupt, of course, and we don't want to assume. So with the assumption, don't assume anything and ask for clarification. It's also good to reiterate what you heard so that you fully understand what you're hearing from your networking conversation. And then, of course, we want to express appreciation. So that is best done by getting some form of contact information for those with whom we network. So that could be a business card, it could be a quick email or a phone number. And it's so important to follow up with these folks. Again, we don't want to just network to find jobs. We want to network to build professional relationships. So following up is important. And I also recommend, if you don't already, and if you aren't currently employed and don't have a business card yourself, to create your own personal business cards. You can do that easily with Word templates. So you can put your name, your email, your address on there, and then a simple, what I like to call a power statement, or a summary of where you're looking to go. So if you're looking to go into the marketing field, maybe discuss some major accomplishments that you really are proud of in that field. So that is one tip I would say for networking in general, is to provide a personal business card if you can. All right, next we move on to the 4 P's of networking. So here is a third item for networking professionalism, if you want to remember the 4 P's. So the first P is to be prepared. So we want to plan a script possibly and practice with it, but we do not want to have that script and just memorize it, because then we may be sounding like a robot a little bit, and we may not be able to cater our conversation with whom we're talking. So just keep that in mind, being prepared with that. We want to be purposeful. So know what you want, know why you're there, know what the end goal is. And third, you want to be present. You want to be in that present moment. You want to be thinking about your present goals and opportunities with the conversation. And then being pulled together. So you want to showcase your confidence. You may do a self-reflection analysis and come up with some power social mirrors or positive social mirror statements that you can come to the table with. So keep in mind all of those positive influencers on you, and those exercises that may help you identify some quick identifiable details that you can provide for yourself during the networking situations. All right, the next tool is an Excel tracker. So if you're an Excel lover like me, you may like the use of an Excel spreadsheet for when you're job searching. So columns you could have include the date applied, the organization, position title, the application process, if you filled out the application online but had to save it and go back to it, the application materials you submitted, and what you called those materials on your computer. We hear, unfortunately, sometimes that people will submit the wrong resume or submit the wrong cover letter. So if you can have a tracking system of what you call those various resumes and cover letters, that is going to be of most help to you. Because in the career world, we definitely encourage folks to submit resumes that are relevant and cater to that one job, as well as cover letters. So we don't want folks to submit resumes and cover letters the same type to several different positions. You want to cater them. So listing how you document that in your computer and how you list the file is very helpful as well. So you can also use this to rank positions. Let's say if you apply to 3 or 4 positions and you get some interviews, and then you get some offers. If you have offers that you have to decide, you can use this to rank them, rank the positions. What felt right? What felt like you would be most successful? And you can use that as well on this list. And additionally, once you have your dream job, you can use it for later in job searches. Let's say if you want to change careers or change industries 20 years later, you can use this as a tool to see what was helpful and what didn't work during your whole process, from submitting your application all the way to doing those interviews for positions. All right, another tool that I highly, highly recommend is calendaring. So if you are one that is able to be better organized using a calendar such as the Google Calendar on your phone or the smart calendar that you have, absolutely do it. And not just block off job searching from 9 to 4, but separate it into exactly what you mean that you will do. So, for example, you will search some different online tools such as Handshake and maybe LinkedIn for 9 to 10, and then you'll start writing your resume and your cover letter for 2 or 3 positions the next hour. So this can be very helpful if you find that, as I said, the calendaring for your daily life. You definitely incorporate it into your job search. Next, a tool and more so an exercise that I think that is really helpful amongst the others that we've discussed this evening is what I call the success exercise. And I do this sometimes when I want to put my power heels on and get ready to go out and do something really cool and exciting. So some things I ask myself to really change and upload my confidence is, for instance, when was the last time I was really proud of myself? What was I proud about myself with today? Where did I excel? Where did I excel in today's work? Another could be, when's the last time that I developed a new skill, and how did I develop that skill, and why does it come to memory? Why does it stay with me as a great skill that I've developed? So this is another tool/exercise that can be helpful in boosting that confidence for you if you need a little bit of a confidence booster. All right, moving forward. So next, we're going to talk about goal setting. So I'm sure some of you or all of you have set goals before. So let's talk a little bit about why setting goals is so important. So research has proven that people who take time to write out their goals accomplish significantly more than those who do not actually write down their goals. So goals increase effort and persistence and produce motivation for you. They can give you something to aim for. They can give you a purpose. They can keep you moving forward and focused, make you accountable, help you reach your potential, and it can help you get the best out of the experiences in which you are going through. So as the statement here says, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So highly encourage the goal setting. And moving into the type of goal setting using SMART goals. So I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the SMART goal acronym, but SMART goals stand for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So going up to specific, let's say I have a goal to obtain a job by the end of June, let's say June. So specific, I want to be very detailed in how I'm going to be going about doing that. And I want to be clear and unambiguous. So I may say that I will research Handshake. I will look at coming to a career event that the U of A is hosting if alumni can attend. I will look at LinkedIn, so some specifics there. Let's say if we were looking for the measurable aspect, we would want to include definite numbers. So for example, I will look at least 3 different online resources to search for jobs, or I will spend at least 3 days searching for jobs, or 2 hours searching for jobs. So a number that you can put in there. Next, you want to ask yourself, is it attainable, or is it attainable with the available resources I have at my disposal? So keeping it in the likelihood that you're able to achieve it with these resources. And then you want to think about the realistic aspect. Is this a goal that you, knowing yourself, can accomplish, but it's also challenging that it allows you to step outside your comfort zone a little bit? Will there be a likelihood of success and completion with this goal? So think about the realistic aspect. And then finally, timely. Identify a target date for completion. So I said I wanted to apply to a couple jobs by at least June. So that would be my target date. But to be more specific, June 1st, June 15th, June 30th, something as specific as possible so that you will know when you have accomplished your goal. So the SMART goals are very, very helpful in doing all of this for your job search. So here are some quick examples of SMART goals. So for example, one could be you set up 2 informational interviews by the end of February. Another one could be that you reach out to 2 people or 2 organizations a week until April 1st for the purpose of networking. So one thing related here is that we talked about networking with people and finding mentors. Another thing is to don't forget about professional associations or organizations within your career industry area. So for example, if you are a marketing graduate and you're looking for a career in the marketing field, the American Marketing Association may have a job search listing there on their website that you could utilize. So I tell folks to keep that in mind as well when they're job searching, to not forget about, besides LinkedIn and Handshake, that professional associations and organizations may be another way to gain some new opportunities and search and apply for them. So as we conclude, I want to ask if there are any questions about the content in today's session. So I'm happy to answer any if there are, and thank you very much for listening tonight.
Thank you, Sarah. Are there any questions at this point? And so we'll open it up, give it a little time for you to type them in.
Where can I find resources for self-assessments was one question. Well, I would be happy to share with you some of the self-assessments that I shared in this session. So I have my contact information up here. Feel free to email me at your convenience, and I'd be happy to share some of those with you.
And just a reminder, this webinar will actually be archived on our website, alumnicareerlab.com. So you can access it at any time on demand.
Absolutely, that's a good point too.
And it'll have her contact information on there as well.
Any other questions I can entertain?
Give it another minute.
Okay.
All right. Well, if there aren't any more questions, Sarah, we thank you for doing this presentation.
Thank you.
It was very informational. I was able to learn a lot as well. I'm sure the attendees were able to learn. So as I said, this webinar will be, it's been recorded, and so it'll be on our website, alumnicareerlab.com. If you want to review it another time, you can also review other webinars that we've held in the past on that website. And we will have another webinar next month, as we do these monthly. So if you're interested, be on the lookout for emails as far as registering for it and being able to check it out on our website. So I thank everyone for joining in. The UA Alumni Career Lab appreciates you. And if there's anything we can help around career and professional development, please feel free to reach out. So thanks, everyone. Close signing off.
Yes, thank you, Cindric, and thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.